sky's not blue.
Welcome back to the Cult House Podcast. I'm your host, the Scholar of Spite and the Saturday Night Delight, Roger Riddell. Joining me today, back again for the third time, he'll make your liver quiver and your spleen turn green. He's the Duke of Spook, Wednesday 13. How are you doing today, Wednesday?
Doing good, doing good. Good to be back.
Yeah, I'm stoked to have this conversation. I know right now you're wrapping up a North American tour for your 10th solo album, Mid-Death Crisis. So how is that going?
It's good. It's almost done. We have three more dates on my tour bus now, and we are uh, three more dates tonight. We're in Wisconsin, and then Colorado, and then home. So last three of 36 shows across North America.
Yeah, and like you've got, I guess, like a month or two off before you hit Europe, right?
Yes, not necessarily off. I mean, we're off from touring, but I always go back and busy and making videos and attending horror conventions and promoting and so yeah, I stay busy in between tours. So it's always out doing stuff for me, which is good.
Yeah, no, speaking of, making videos and staying busy between tours, I know recently you were also an amateur firefighter.
Apparently, that's on the resume now.
The only firefighter in the state of California with like 6-inch platforms.
That's right. Well, yeah, yeah. So it can be done. Don't let anybody tell you any different.
Yeah, so tell me about the whole process of putting together the new album, Mid Death Crisis. I've been listening to it a lot since it came out. I guess it's been like a week and a half now. And on my end with this album, the thing that sticks out to me the most is just the production on the drums and the bass. It has like that really sort of heavy like thump to it. You know what I mean?
hmm Yeah, our mixer Steve Evans actually is the credit for bringing this album sonically to where it needed to be. It's one of the best sounding Wednesday 13 records in the catalog for sure. And Steve's got a crazy history of credits to back it up, which why it sounds that great. I mean, he's did a lot of prong albums, which production and stuff on that is just always badass. Another band, Amen, he did the Coma America mix on that. So just he's got a killer history, and he did the drums on my Necrophase album, but he didn't actually mix the record. So uh, once I'd met Steve back then, I knew it was future. We had to do a record where he would mix it, and this is the one.
Yeah, no, it's just like really polished, but also still raw, and it really kind of brings me back to Transylvania 90210. Like I think it stands among your entire catalog as some of your best work.
I think so too. I mean, when I was making the set list for this tour, and it's all mainly songs from that record. I'm not doing the album in its entirety thing because I don't like doing that. Maybe once is okay, but every night I no. But when I'm picking all the songs out, I'm like, these are these are all the classic songs. These are all the ones. These are the greatest hits right here on this one album. So that was a something I didn't really realize till I wrote it down and looked at it.
I'll get back to Transylvania here in a minute, but tell me some more about just the process for putting this album together. Because one of the things that stuck out to me with the album artwork too, just in the presentation of everything, is like the logo, is kind of a throwback to that Transylvania and Fang Bang era, and a lot of like the design on the inside with like the photo shoots and everything. Also, really reminded me of that era of your solo band. Was that
Yeah,
like a conscious effort?
all on purpose. A lot of people, I always use the term people listen with their eyes a lot of times, and they'll they're hearing the music, but when they're visually looking at all this stuff, they're instantly kind of, you know, kind of subliminally brainwashed, going, "Oh, this is just like the first album," because they're seeing the imagery of it, and the music is reminiscent of that. So it's just it's easy to get sucked into that nostalgia tornado, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me the overall packaging of the album has always been as important as the music because I've just always been a person who likes to consume the entire album as opposed to just like, a song or two here and there.
Yeah, and this the same way with the packaging on this. I think the packaging on this is maybe the best packaging I've ever done on a record. It's got everything. I've never had this many photos in a record ever of any band. And I wanted it to be that way. I remember I was talking to my friend Jason the other day, and we were talking about how I used to go to the record store when I was a kid, and I got the cassette of a band, and it'd be the bands I listened to didn't have the big budget, so they would have the minimal layout in the cassette. But then if they did well on that second album, they got the big budget, and they would come back in and they get a bigger. I remember like Cinderella, for example, Long Cold Winter had the longest cassette pull out packaging, and I went, whoa, this is crazy. So I just think back to those kind of days of that packaging, and I'm thinking, well, if I was, like a teenager and buying a Wednesday 13 album, what would I want that package to look like? And I'm just thinking, oh, just fill it full of all the eye candy that you possibly can in that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got similar sort of experiences from like the cassette days when I was a kid when my dad had like the Aerosmith Pump album, for instance.
Mhm.
Like I would pull out the liner notes in that and open it up and like just seeing the band with like Steven Tyler with like his black nail polish and all that shit at the time really kind
Yeah.
of set the stage for just that album overall. Like it puts you in like the right mood for the album.
Yeah. Some people, I'm in that band where I'm a visual artist. It's not all about the music. It's all about the full package. And you got to have the artwork is just as important as painting the picture. It paints the picture for the music. It goes hand in hand. And people that don't get to experience that or through this and only hear the music, they're only getting half of it.
I mean, it goes back to something that we've talked about before where um, your music is very much like, leave your brain at the door, have a good time. And like, you're the kind of frontman who basically like wants to wield your mic stand like a battle axe, like
Yeah.
all of the props and everything really kind of go toward um, putting the audience into like this frame of mind where you're taking them on a journey. Like they're not just passively enjoying your show or your album or, that sort of thing.
It's a circus. It's a fun house ride. Come in, you get this quick ride, and we spit you out, and you go, "Whoa, that was great. I want to do it again. Yay!" You know, it's that simple. It shouldn't be any more. For me, that's all it is.
How much of that approach to things has been fine-tuned over the years with your like friendships with people like Alice Cooper?
I mean, it's been crazy. I've become friends with a lot of my heroes and people that, from Alice Cooper to having Taime Downe on the record. Two dudes is a huge part of my history and influence, and these are guys that I got their phone numbers. I can hang out when they see me. They know me by name, and we can talk and catch. It's just I've been really fortunate to do and be a part of like so many crazy stories. Like I've been doing interviews all day today and just telling some of them today. I was like shocked myself. I was like, well, I totally forgot about that story. It's just if I ever put a book out, it'll be interesting whether you know who I am or not. It's just I've been in some unique situations around a lot of famous people, and just it's been very cool.
Sort of with that question, like I'm just kind of thinking of like you started out and you already kind of had like this, you know, propensity for presentation and like the stage show and everything with Frankenstein drag queens. I know last time we talked, you were talking about how with that band, it reached the point where you're always playing dress up with the other members because, they didn't necessarily come prepared with the same sort of mindset as you in the
Right.
regards to that. And so like as you have like gotten to collaborate with a lot of for lack of a better term, like with a lot of your idols or whatever, um, what are some of the most important lessons that you've learned as far as like, just sort of improving your approach to things and like taking all that kind of stuff to the next level as you've progressed as an artist over the years?
I've just learned to keep learning. I've learned to keep learning is a good way to really say it. Like there's a lot of people who get comfortable and they don't think they need to practice or get better. Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good at this. Like, for me, I'm a I'm a way better frontman than I was 20 years ago. I learned how to do it. I was just trying back then, and I didn't well. Not saying it was bad. I know what I'm doing now, and it's taken me a long time to craft it, but I know how it operates now. I know the anatomy of how my system works, and I know how it doesn't work as well. I think that's the best thing to learn is not to know how it works, is know how what makes it not work.
Sort of along those same lines, like I think one of the things that sticks out to me on this album too is that your vocals sound as good as ever. And that's not something that you can typically say about someone like, 20 plus years into them being,
No,
touring regularly.
no, it's crazy. I really learned how to control this now. I without messing it up. Like I used to go in the studio and I would leave the studio and still strain my voice or play one show and hurt my voice for the entire tour. And I would just never be 100% on my vocals. It was just, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. I do it now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the things that like, and this is just from things that I've heard from friends over the years, who are vocalists as well, is just like to some extent to preserve your voice, like you have to let the microphone do the work too. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You let the mic do all, and I wear in-ears now too, which I think is a major part of the live. I mean, it was 100% part of the live thing. In the studio, I've always been good, but um, just learning how to control it and not hurt it, so to speak. Yeah, it's just it's never easy. It's always a learning process, and I have to stay on it, and I can damage my voice at any time, but I've luckily been uh, good on this tour.
What's like, I guess, sort of the worst experience that you've ever had vocal wise on a tour, like especially with some of the high screams that you hit?
I mean, just back in the day, I would party and not get any rest and play a show and stay up till 6 in the morning. And then when I did finally go to sleep, I'd wake up and have a voice. That's happened a million times. And it sucks. There's nothing you can do about it. Just either cancel or bark your way through it. And I usually bark my way through it. But there's no particular one that's the worst. There's just anytime you can't do what you want to do, it's frustrating. It's not like a guitar amp. You can't just get another one and plug in. It's that's the only thing about being a vocalist that's you're the instrument. You got to be careful with it.
When it comes to the track No Apologies that Taime Downe from Faster Pussycat was on, how did that come about and what was it like recording with him?
Um, it was great. I mean, like I said, he was a big influence on me with Faster Pussycat in early days when I first started playing guitar. That's how I learned how to play guitar, was listening to their record. And we were in the studio, and our producer just kind of jokingly said, "Oh, this song sounds kind of like Faster Pussycat. Be cool to get Taime on it, huh?" I went, "Yeah, it would be." And then he didn't do anything that day. And then a couple of days later, he said the same thing again. And I went, "Yeah, you know what? I think I will call him." And I just called him up and asked him, and he said yes. It was literally that simple. You know, I've known Taime for over 10 years now, and we did a quick tour in Australia recently, and we just became friends. And it was just something that, it worked out. It really did work out, and it was super easy to do. And um, it's one of the best tracks on the record.
Yeah, I mean that one stands out to me. Xanaxis is probably my favorite, and then just that the drums and the bass on When the Devil Commands like just really stand
Yeah,
out to me too.
yeah, dude. It's everybody's got their favorites, and this is the first record where the singles aren't the favorites. And I knew it would be that way, and they weren't necessarily my favorites. And it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of, this record is, any song could have been a single, any of them, and that's why I had the most difficult time, and I just picked the ones that I did. But there's still more to come, and this is just I ended up with a good problem this time. This is a good problem to have. I have a full record full of instant classics.
What is the, I guess, sort of thought process that you have when you're writing lyrics and you throw in like kind of callbacks to some of your older songs, like on When the Devil Commands, the
Mhm.
Devil Made Me Do It and I'll Do It Again. That
Yep.
immediately made me want to go back and listen to Viva Las Violence again because it
Yeah.
just made me think of that song.
But the reason I do it is exactly why what you said, to pull on the fans that know that, and it makes you go, "Oh, wow, that's cool. That's a nod to that. I want to hear that now." So it's just kind of like, to a newer fan that may not know that, that's just cool lyrics. But to someone that knows, it's an Easter egg. So I throw little Easter eggs out, and I've did that for years. I just think it's kind of fun to do, and some of my bands do. Some of my favorite bands do it, but that's something I kind of specialize in. And then when I can ever hit a home run with those, sometimes I'm like, "Oh, that's a good one." Like on Vincent Price, when I go, "It's such a late, late, late show, and where it ends, nobody knows." I just said the name of the first Frankenstein Drag Queens record there. So I'm always I've always thrown back titles, and it's natural for me, but I try to be clever with them, and do it. So I'll keep doing it.
And speaking of Late 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 Show, um, that album came out, I guess, roughly like 10 years before you started as a solo artist. So, like, what was it like when you were first going solo after the Murderdolls? And, like, were there any parallels to that with, sort of the way that it felt when you were first starting the Frankenstein drag queens? Like, were there similarities? And then what were some of the, I guess, things where it felt different?
Um, it's, it was totally different because with Wednesday 13, and I got signed to a label, so I had a label behind me. Whereas Frankenstein Drag Queens had a label put our stuff out, but they weren't like, it wasn't a real deal. It wasn't like what Roadrunner did. So, and also, even though Frankenstein Drag Queens, I wrote the music and I did everything, it was still a band, and I had to get people on the same page. So it was a lot easier doing Wednesday 13, is what I'm saying.
The band that you had, I mean, you've still got a pretty solid band overall. Like I don't think you've ever had a band that didn't feel like it like clicked sonically. But like
Right.
it's interesting to look back at that first lineup that you had solo, um, because you had like Piggy D in the band, and like he's gone on to be in Rob Zombie, and now he's in Manson. So what is it like having like that sort of thing where like you're part of these people's pedigrees?
It's great. I mean, Piggy and I are still good friends, and I just seen him before this tour, and I spoke with him several times during this tour. So he's still a good friend. And when he first joined my band, uh, he was speaking with Rob Zombie, So I knew that was in the works for him, and it's just I'm proud to see him go on and do stuff. A lot of people I've played with have went on to do certain things, and he's still very close in my friendship, and we speak often, and I'd love to have him come out and play one of these. Do a couple songs with us at Transylvania, something somewhere this year.
Yeah, because I know when you did the second Murderdolls album, like you all would have been on that same tour again too when you all were out with Rob
Hmm.
Zombie and Alice Cooper.
Yep, yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
we hung out quite a bit on that, so it was good times.
Yeah. No, I love how like so many bands just have that those interconnections.
No, it's cool. It's a small world out here. We all kind of know each other, and when you've been around it for this long, you know it. You got to respect people. Oh, that guy's been here for a while. He must be doing something right.
So on Transylvania, when you were writing those songs and submitting that album to Roadrunner, and I guess you would have been working with like Monty Connor at the time, and um, what was that whole process like? Because that's another album where it's just like every track on that album's a banger. Like I remember picking that up during high school and just like blasting it in my truck all the time.
No, it was just a exciting time. It just seemed like nothing could go wrong around then. I had a arsenal of new music, and the label was behind me. It was my same team from Murderdolls, and Monty believed in it, and it was killer, man. I mean, to have your own solo record come out, that was I thought Murderdolls was an achievement, but to do my own record was the ultimate middle finger. Fuck you. It was a good time, and I was just recently talking to Monty Connor at one of my shows and reminiscing of all this time. So it was a good time, and I captured lightning in a bottle on that record.
Was the experience of submitting that album to the label similar to like when the second Murder Dolls album came out, where you had some of the people from the label like, no, 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 you can't have that sort of song on there, or like that's not going to play well with like a broader audience, or things along those lines, since it was a bigger label at the time.
No, we never got any censorship or anyone to tell us no. I mean, I think they kind of knew what we were getting or what they were getting with us. There was a couple things that we suggested, and they were like, "Nah, you're pushing it there on that." So we just didn't. But for the most part, we had free reign to do what we wanted, and it worked out. They never ever said, "No, you can't have a song like this or something."
Just the whole vibe of the band has always been fantastic to me because it's like Tales from the Crypt in like music form.
Yeah, it is very much so.
So with Late 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 Show, next year would be like the 30th anniversary of that.
Oh, it is.
Is
Yeah.
that kind of mind-blowing to think back on, like just the fact that you've got such a body of work that like every year at this point is like the 10th or 20th or 30th anniversary of something?
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't even think that's 30 next year. So yeah, I started doing that when I was 19 years old, you know, pretty crazy.
What are some of the things that stick out to you the most from that period, like just starting out as a musician?
It was a struggle. I was fresh out of high school, working a day job, and pissed at the world that I wasn't already a rock star and touring. I didn't want this day job. And um, then I got married. I had a kid. I had a lot of stuff competing against it, and I was still able to achieve it. And it was just a struggle, but I never lost sight of it, and I was able to to do it. And I don't know how. Looking back on it, I had everything stacked against me, and I somehow made it.
Yeah, I know we're coming up on 30 minutes here, and I don't want to take up too much of your time because you've got to prep for your show this evening
Yeah,
too.
I hear them sound checking. They're waiting on me right now. So yeah.
Yeah. So, if you got time for one more question,
Yeah.
I was just wondering if maybe you could settle a debate that I was having with a couple of friends the other day, because I know that you're a big toy collector.
Hmm.
What do you think is the best toy line ever?
Best toy line ever.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it was GI Joe. That original. That was. It'll never. Nothing will ever top that. That was my life. That's all I cared about, and I still care about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, see, I have to go with G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe, TMNT, or like the Star Wars stuff, just because all those lines have so much range and versatility in them.
Yeah, all that stuff was good. And if you were a part of it originally coming out, you got to see the magic of it. And that's why GI Joe is magical to me because I was there when it was brand new and I got to experience and go in a store and look through each figure and look for the bad guy in the back that was the rare one and find it. It was like finding the gold ticket.
I mean, no other toy line was good enough to be nailed to a crucifix in 1976-66 either.
Exactly. It's number one.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for your time today, Wednesday. Is there anything else that you want to put out there before we wrap things up?
Just thanks to all the fans for all the support. See ya at the next one.